right, well, let's get this. This will be the last question this week.
That's what you said before.
Well, the answer sucked.
Yeah, that's true. Thanks a lot.
Well, you admitted it.
That's better questions.
You admitted it. This was sent to cornydrivethrue@gmail.com from Alex in Memphis. I've always wondered why Ric Flair's knee pads are never on his knees. Did they always just fall down immediately after he put them on? Or was there a technical aspect to it, such as Flair liking to drop the knee across his opponent's head, and the knee pads could soften the blow in case the spot came off a little messy? If anyone knows the answer, it's probably Jim, but I know I can't be the only one who wonders this. So Jim, why does Ric Flair wear knee pads but never on his knees?
Well, that's with some guys, that's where it's more comfortable. And I will attempt to explain. If you go back and watch Dennis Condrey, same thing, never pulled his knee pad. Normally, the knee pad would be pulled up to where there's as much pad above your knee as there is below, and the opening is, in the sleeve of it is where your knee bends, right? But when you think about it, in wrestling, how many times is the top portion of your knee going to get hit? When you drop a knee, when you drop to your knees on the mat, it's your lower legs. It's the kneecap down, not the kneecap up, that's taken all that punishment. And Dennis especially, he had such a flat way of dropping. When he dropped a knee, the knee that hit the guy was not coming down with as much force as the knee that was hitting the mat to make the noise and cause him to come to an abrupt stop and make it look like he dropped that knee on that guy. Bob Eaton, same thing. And that's mostly the lower leg. And sometimes guys had problems with getting knots, bruises on their shin bone, or just that's where you get the punishment, is the lower part of the leg. And some guys, it's more comfortable. It's not really much more complicated than that. And it always was kind of awkward to me because it felt funny to me, but since I had bad knees, I always had a knee brace on anyway under whatever I was wearing. But that's why I started putting the pads on my elbows and knees. It was like pads all the way from my shoulder to my wrist and from my hip to my ankle, because I wanted to look like the putsy manager being all padded up. But I did notice when I would work that the majority of the time, the top of your knee doesn't have any problem. It's always the bottom. It's always that fucking pointy bone on the bottom of your kneecap. So they were just covering that up. That's pretty much as simple as it was.
I always thought it was because Flair had skinny legs. No, I'm serious. I thought that's what I was told.
Well, I think he would have probably come up with a different way to bulk them up, but really it doesn't bulk your calves up. It just makes your fucking lower leg look square. Okay. But it would be also, I would rather have that knee pad than his shin bone coming down on the fucking point of my forehead, since there was not a lot of room for error in those things. And occasionally shit happens, but it was just mainly that. It's easier on the legs. And here's what I can't believe. Do you know who did not wear knee pads until, I would say, probably 10 years ago? I noticed him actually wearing knee pads.
Who?
Jerry Lawler.
Huh, interesting.
Under those long tights, you go back and look. Lawler wore long tights, right? And there's a pad, the old Carl and Hildegard tights, before they did spandex and everything. There was an extra layer of tight material sewn on as a knee pad type of thing, where you wouldn't get holes in your knees, because that's where you scuffed them a lot, but there was no padding in it. On those Memphis rings, those horrible Tennessee rings, that they had give, but the padding was just indoor-outdoor carpeting, and there was rough spots and holes in them. He'd do those fist drops off the top rope. 30 fucking some years, never wore knee pads, never has had a knee surgery, never had a knee issue. And finally, when he got to be like 60, because I sat down several years ago, not that long ago in the overall scheme of things. I sat down with him in front of him one time. I was talking to him. I saw him putting knee pads on. I said, "When'd you start wearing those?" He said, "Well, I gave in." Like, he's 60, time to put the knee pads on now. I don't know how the fuck he's done it. Not only the bumps that he took when he was younger in the 70s and early 80s especially, yeah, the thing with Leduc severed his leg muscle because he missed the table by a foot. And, you know, he's had a couple of other dings, but never a major surgery from all those ridiculous bumps, 40 rows of bleachers down from the fucking top of the building, off the edges of stages, you know, all that shit, and didn't even wear knee pads for 30 fucking years. No surgeries. No, he's the Teflon king. It's freaky.
You know, every now and then, I mean, Lawler wore long trunks. Every now and then when you see a wrestler in regular trunks without knee pads, it just seems awkward.
Well, and also every time I ever did anything without knee pads, even just managing, I'd get up in the ring and hurt myself, I would end up black and blue if I didn't have a fucking knee pad on. I don't know how guys do it and go in there and actually work and not just fucking destroy their knees.